Welcome to East West Health Radio. Meet the innovators of functional medicine, stem cell therapy, and health optimization programs. Our purpose is to transform the current healthcare system from a sick care and symptom management system to a true healthcare and health optimization model by understanding and addressing the root cause of health problems. This program is to help educate you to have better health. It's East West Health Radio.
And welcome, everybody. This is your host, East West Radio. This is Cade Archibald, and I am joined today by Justin Lane, and we're ready to talk about some awesome stuff about your health.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to Daylight Savings Time.
Yeah. It already feels like it's pitch black outside, and it's like 4:30. So, all right. Well, today, our topic, I'm really excited to talk about today's topic. This is something that plagued me a little bit earlier on in my when I had some different health concerns. But we're going to be talking about adrenal and kidney health. And, we're going to jump into what are some of the symptoms we'll see, what are some of the causes, how it functions, what different systems it can cause the dysfunction in your body, and also talk about some solutions. So if anyone is wondering if you have any adrenal issues, anything like that, give us a call in today. I want to make sure I give you guys the right number. 673. It's 673. So give us a call if you have any questions. It's 435-673-1450, and that'll give you and you can call us and ask us a few questions while we're here. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I gave the right number out. I had it written down wrong, so sorry it took me so long to spit that out. All right, so Justin, let's talk about adrenal and kidney function and health. What are some of the symptoms? What should people see if or notice if they do have some adrenal issues?
Well, usually there's several symptoms, and usually there's more than one system in the body affected. So your kidneys or your adrenals might be also affected in terms of an overall picture. But when we think of adrenals, the adrenal glands, first of all, they sit right on top of the kidneys. They're about the size of a walnut. But they are kind of your master gland in a lot of sense in terms of its ability to affect other organ systems and other hormone systems in the body. But essentially, one of the most common symptoms that you might, if you're out there experiencing some adrenal hypofunction, meaning underfunctioning, or some kidney issues, typically, fatigue is a big one. Obviously, you always feel like you're tired. No matter how much sleep you get, you still feel like you're tired. You might be wide awake even at night when it's bedtime, but then you have a hard time sleeping through the night, and by the time you get to sleep or you feel tired, it's like 5 or 6 in the morning. It's actually morning, and then you feel tired, ready to sleep. So those are some of the common ones. Typically, if besides fatigue, low energy, if you have any other health conditions like thyroid problems, for example, means you probably also do have an adrenal issue as well. And that's because your thyroid receptors are on every cell in your body. And so they are affected by what's happening in the kidneys and in other parts of the body. You may have trouble losing weight. Let's say you've adopted some really good weight loss strategies, including changing your diet, eating more of a high beneficial fat diet and low carb diet, and you're still just kind of having trouble with the metabolism. The kidneys could be involved as well. So it's not always just the kidneys, but typically, fatigue is sort of a hallmark symptom, and really just kind of having odd sleep hours where no matter how much you sleep or when, you still just feel kind of blah, like you're tired and sleepwalking through your day. Yeah.
Yeah, and so if you guys if you've ever suffered from adrenal issues or anything like that, give us a call and let's call us in, ask us a question, 673-1450. We also have an event coming up this tomorrow evening. We have a few slots available. If you're interested, we're going to be talking about it ties right in with adrenal health, but call us to register. It's 435-773-7790. Once again, that's 773-7790. And you're listening to East West Health Radio with Justin and Cade. So, Justin, what So we talked a little bit about the symptoms, what people would experience. So fatigue, if I'm feeling tired, if I can't fall asleep at night. So maybe like I start doing dishes at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I don't even wind down till like 2. And that, yes, I do the dishes a lot, everybody.
Yeah.
No. So those are some symptoms. So what could potentially be the causes of some of my thyroid or my adrenal issues?
Well, it's a great question, and typically we want to do some testing to find that part of the equation out. But without any testing, just cursory, we could say, of course, drug use, pharmaceutical use, that can cause kidney damage, low kidney function, contribute to adrenal fatigue. In fact, I treated last year. I had a 26-year-old who was taking ibuprofen. These are common, by the way, more of the people than you might realize. She was just taking ibuprofen every day for about 6 months. She had some different back pain or menopausal pains, but she was taking it every day consistently. And her labs came back, and she was in second stage kidney failure, and she wasn't taking any other medications. So, popping Advil like candy is not a good idea. They're not M&Ms, and they do adversely affect both your GI tract and your kidneys. So that's one thing. We look at toxicity, whether it's medication related. A big topic now in conventional medicine is something called polypharmacy, which is being prescribed multiple medications simultaneously. That can be dangerous for the patients, even though they're justifiably prescribed by their physician based on their health conditions, and the protocol in conventional medicine is to prescribe them. There's really no long-term studies that I've found in the literature where we have people taking more than one medication simultaneously and really studying that over the course of a long-term study. It's just not out there. We know these medications may interact with each other or may be harmful, but we just don't have the research out there that's showing that. But we see it clinically quite often.
Yeah, I think the only statistic is if you're on 5 or more medications, you have a 100% chance of adverse reaction. Yeah,
that's pretty. Whether it's subtle or not so subtle, yeah, your chances go way up. And so that's something we do work with patients about. 'Cause a lot of patients come to our clinic here in St. George and they want to reduce their medications or get off of them. They just don't like how they feel on them for chronic health concerns. And so that is an added, bonus, I guess you could say, or a program that we do offer. So medications are a part of the picture. Toxins in the environment, whether it's heavy metals or environmental exposures, will contribute to that. Stress. How many of you out there are overwhelmed and are feeling stressed out? And I imagine probably most of you would raise your hand. So
don't raise your hand if you're driving, though, please.
Please don't. We don't want to add to the stress. So stress is a big one, and a lot of people minimize that in their life. We all have stress. It's not a matter of getting rid of it. It's a matter of dealing with it really positively as best we can to manage our stress so that it doesn't affect us as much. And I know that's given a lot of lip service, but it's really important. We have a few patients that really stress is a primary aggravation of their symptoms and their signs, their blood work and stuff like that. And it's really hard to quantify. People have a hard time seeing that in themselves. You almost have to be the one to point it out, or a loved one or a friend can point that out to somebody much easier. But that's a part of the picture too. So someone's under a lot of stress and they're taking a lot of medications, and they've been exposed to environmental toxins, whether it's metals, and pretty much that's everybody. If you're breathing today, you're exposing yourself to toxins and heavy metals. Certain foods, again, eating poorly, a poor diet will cause that as well. So
if you're if you're in that stressful state and then you're also taking stimulants or like caffeine even, coffee can be pretty taxing on the adrenals.
Yeah,
especially if it's in too high doses.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're drinking 3 or 4 cups of coffee to stay awake and function, probably want to look at that as why is that, A, and B, that you're setting yourself up for some long-term health problems there.
Yeah. All right. So that goes through some of the causes. So how does it? How do your adrenals function? How do they help? I've heard they help regulate blood sugar. They can even impact digestion and some with thyroid. So what are some of the mechanisms, or what's the functioning behind that?
Well,
before you answer, I just want to make sure everyone knows we're talking about adrenal and kidney function today. This is East West Health Radio for those of you that just tuned in. If you want to call and ask us a question, reach out to us, 673-1450. All right, so sorry I cut you off there, but what's the mechanisms behind that functioning?
Well, typically, your adrenal glands are, again, they sit on top of your kidneys. They're about the size of a walnut. Well, they're sort of like a gland that has a gas pedal on button, but no way to turn the gas pedal off. Meaning, if you're under a lot of stress, they tend to just kind of push forward, like putting your gas pedal to the floor. So they sort of stimulate the rest of the body, whether it's blood circulation, your thyroid gland, the communication with your gut. All of that stuff is put into hyperdrive when you're under a lot of stress, or some of these other causes are creating that condition in the body. And so it tends to basically overpower the gut and overpower the thyroid gland, because the thyroid gland, again, has cell receptors on every site in the body. And so it's literally reaching every cell in the body. And so if you're under a lot of stress, or you have some toxicity going on, or some poor diet, it's really going to affect how that gland functions. It's sort of going to turn it off, but there's no button necessarily to turn it off. It's really a lifestyle program that's going to help sort of get those numbers back to usual, whether it's supplements, herbs, eating the right foods, managing stress. All that stuff sort of helps to normalize the adrenal function in the body.
Yeah, okay. Very cool. So you gave us a glimpse into some of the solutions. What kind of testing would you want to do if I'm someone out there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm stressed out all the time. I constantly almost feel like I'm in this fight or flight state where my gut seems like it's in my heart all the time, or and I got all these anxieties, and then just completely fatigued and tired. What would be the next step? So if I needed to do some testing, what would that look like?
Well, there's a few different things you can do. If you're going down the Chinese medicine route, I can say objectively we have pulse diagnosis. That typically actually will come up on a pulse.
Very cool.
One of your pulses would be off, and normally, and I won't go into too much detail, but normally a pulse that would be very deep in your body would actually be very high, and that's the first thing we would, in Chinese medicine, we could pick up some imbalance, something wrong with the circulation to the kidney. In terms of traditional lab testing, I think one of the gold standards is a saliva test, and that's something where we test your saliva at 4 different times of the day. Cortisol is measured in the saliva, can be measured in the saliva, can be measured in the blood too. But typically it's a serum cortisol level. That's cortisol is the biochemical associated with your adrenal function. A blood test typically will give you just a very brief insight, and it's usually only done once a day. And so
I don't know many people that want to get their blood drawn 4 times throughout the day.
No.
That sounds painful.
Not usually fun.
There's also, you can do urine with some of the other advanced hormone testing as well, but yeah, I think for simplicity's sake, we use primarily saliva.
Saliva, yeah. We also, we'll do urine for neurotransmitters, which can be related, but strictly for kidney and adrenal fatigue or cortisol function, we're looking at a saliva test. Typically, it's supposed to be, your cortisol levels are supposed to be highest in the morning, and then they sort of gradually taper down through the day, kind of like a little curve down. So when we do that saliva test, and we get the results, that really tells us how your adrenal glands are functioning. And so based on that, then we can decide what to do about it.
Yeah, an interesting thing that I learned about cortisol not too long ago is it's the exact inverse of melatonin. Mm-hmm. So it actually follows your circadian rhythm. Mm-hmm. So if you have sleeping troubles or difficulty losing weight, those are like some of the main things that we'll look at, but your melatonin acts the exact inverse of your cortisol hormone. Which
makes sense why you have trouble sleeping when you should be sleepy at night and you're wide awake. So, yeah, when those get thrown off, you're going to have issues. And I do want to kind of distinguish this. For those of you out there, medical professionals who do work in the ER, and you get people coming in saying, "Oh, I have adrenal fatigue. Give me prescription medication." That's not really the direction that we're moving on. That's really a totally different topic. This is something really, it's not a fad per se. This is something measurable we can find on labs, between labs and also symptomatic presentation and also signs. So, yeah, I mean, I think the saliva test is a gold standard in terms of figuring out your cortisol levels. But typically, that's just one of the labs that we run when we're trying to get a whole picture of a patient and what's going on. So, yes, the kidneys might be out of whack, but also the thyroid, the digestion, the exercise, the food, all of that can be part of the picture. So this isn't supposed to be taken as a comprehensive in isolation test. It's sort of a test to be taken in context with functional medicine overall and looking at root causes to why you're having those symptoms. Yeah,
and all those folks out there that are struggling with this time change with the daylight savings, you could have some adrenal issues.
Yeah, it's pretty common. I think most Americans do. Really.
That's part of the reason why we're talking about this today, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's going through adrenal fatigue today because they just got. Well, realistically, you'd think, oh, we added an hour to our sleep, but here in a couple hours, people are going to start falling asleep at their dinner table.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
They're going to wonder why. All right, so if I'm someone I know, okay, I got some adrenal issues, what are some different things that you'd recommend? Maybe let's talk about from a clinical standpoint. In our in the clinic, someone has adrenal issues. What are you typically recommending? What are you looking at from different solutions that they can do?
Well, typically when let's say we do the saliva test and we get that back and we go over it with our patients, we're looking at where your curve is in relation to the quote-unquote normal curve. So, for example, if it's too low at a particular time of the day, let's say the lowest time of the day, one thing we'll say based on that, if it's at a normal range, is really that's when you want to be exercising. So at the lowest point of the day, whether that's noon for you or 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whenever that curve is the lowest, typically that's when we want to do exercise because exercise is going to increase your cortisol levels and help to normalize your hormones. So that's one thing. We typically will say, exercise, this type of exercise. Not all exercise is created equal either. So certain forms of exercise are appropriate for certain patients based on their health conditions, what else is going on in their body. We also want to look at food and nutrition. That's a big one in terms of healing the adrenals. So first we want to maybe test and see what you have some food allergies to or food sensitivities to or even micronutrient deficiencies. So we'll look at that, and that could be impacting your kidney function, your blood function. We want to look at your blood chemistry too to see where you're currently at in terms of your nutritional levels and putting some pieces together there. Because some of this can be changed, through blood markers, through some supplementation. But a lot of it will be having to do with taking some herbal medicine or some things that are really what we call adaptogenic herbs. That's probably first and foremost as we look at what's aggravating the adrenals and remove that, whether it's food or lifestyle related, and then also looking at adding herbs, which are adaptogenic herbs or herbs that work to really support kidney function. In fact, they kind of work in the body. They kind of go where they're needed, but specifically for your adrenals, there's a lot of different herbs we use in Chinese medicine to support your adrenal function as well as traditional herbal medicine. Also want to look at your vitamin levels. B12 might be linked to your adrenal hypo function. So it kind of just depends. Overall, what's going on.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things you can look at. Also, maybe doing some mindfulness practice, right? Meditation.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, if someone's is hyper adrenal function, sometimes yoga, different things like that can definitely help kind of stabilize in the right direction. All right, so if you guys are just tuning in, you're listening to East West Health Radio. We're talking about adrenal function and kidney function, and we have an event tomorrow. It's on brain fog, leaky gut, and thyroid, and we talk a lot about adrenals as well. give us a call at the clinic, and you can register for that. Seating is very limited. We got a few spots available, so don't just show up. Please call in RSVP. It's 435-773-7790. Once again, that's 773-7790. So we're just about to the top of the hour here, and so Justin, if you could just what would be kind of the most important things when it comes to looking at your adrenal and kidney function from your perspective? Yeah,
I would think we want to look at it probably 5 major areas. One is your diet. We want to look at maybe changing your diet and adding in some kidney friendly foods. Some supplements would be included as part of that. Adaptogenic herbs, B vitamins might be something else that we add in for inflammation. We look at maybe taking a break from caffeine, especially if we know that your kidney function is lowered. We either want to reduce your caffeine intake or modify how you're taking your caffeine in your body. So typically, for example, we talk a lot about using healthy fats in the morning, good omega-3 anti-inflammatory oils like coconut oil or, avocados, things like that, good grass-fed butter. Those things can be used with coffee. That kind of helps to reduce the jitteriness of the coffee. But if you're in, again, this isn't meant to be for everybody. So it really is individual. So depending on how your kidney function is, we want to look at, adding in some changes to the diet, some supplements, as I mentioned. Stress is the big one, I think, overarching is how do you manage stress? Most of us stop breathing when we're under stress. You deplete your body of oxygen that way. If you think of yourself as an oxygen carbon dioxide unit, when you stop breathing, you stop bringing in oxygen and you stop exhaling carbon dioxide, which is a waste product. So breathing shallowly or not breathing at all, that can really just add to your stress. So finding some good things like that. Exactly.
Just
a deep
breath,
some yoga, some Tai Chi, praying, whatever does it for you. Really we want to look at that as a big one.
Yeah, and don't hold your breath while you're praying either. You got to make sure you're breathing.
You got to keep breathing.
All right. So you guys were tuned into East West Health Radio, and I hope you guys learned some great things today. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about us here at East West Health, we have a website, ACU, that's ACU, eastwest.com. Take a look on the web. Give us a call if you're interested in attending any of our future events. We do ask that you RSVP. They're free. We'll usually include a meal with those. But give us a call. That's 435-773-7790. Once again, that's 435-773-7790. And it has been a blast talking with Justin today.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Love
everybody, you have a great day and a great time.
All right. Have a great day, St. George.
You've been listening to East West Health Radio, designed to educate you about better health. Tune in next Monday at 4:30 for East West Health Radio, right here on Fox News KZNU.